and this issue is in relation to the initial response to a knife incident. And police custody, certainly since 2015, officially covers from the point of initial contact throughout the whole process up until the arrest. So I want to just cover the initial response there. So a member of the public calls the police and reports a knife incident, so a person has a knife. The call handler, they then need to assess this incident report using an assessment called THRIVE. That's THRIVE, and that stands for Threat, Harm, Risk, Investigation Requirements, Vulnerability, Engagement Plan. So that's the THRIVE assessment which they start. So they initially declare it as a spontaneous firearms incident, even though the report is it's a knife, because we don't yet know what kind of knife and what the risks are and if the person has any other weapons. So that call handler will feed information into the control and dispatch system. It will be allocated a response grade, which in principle it will be an immediate response, the highest grade, in order for officers to start responding. And also it will be flagged for what's known as the FIM, the Force Incident Manager. Now that's the control room inspector. So the FIM, they are now the spontaneous tactical firearms commander for this incident because it's a spontaneous event. They will review the THRIVE assessment, and they will also take that into consideration with the national decision-making model in relation to the threat, the harm that may happen, the risks. They will then be responsible, so the FIM will be responsible for the command and control, so the command and the coordination of the initial responses from both the control room for furthering the gathering of information, but also the tactical plan and response of the patrol officers. The FIM is responsible to set the initial tactical parameters which the responding officers are complying with. They are also responsible to ensure the briefing to the response officers on the initial working strategy for those responding officers. Now that will consider initial tactical options. So tactical options will typically include officers all attending a RV point or rendezvous point first to move onwards from there, because at the RV point the staff can gather, a plan can be decided. It might be that additional information needs to be obtained before officers move in, because one of the things, if you go in dribs and drabs, then it increases risk to it all going horribly wrong. Officers could get increased risk of injuries. If you've got issues to do with hostages, or you might be pushing the subject into making a decision which one or two officers on the road can't contain and can't manage. So initial tactical options typically will be a rendezvous point for the staff to go to, which will be near to and hopefully given some decent observation point as well, as part of the gathering of the information. Also, the FIM needs to consider from this onset medical aid. So does the control room immediately contact the ambulance service to go, or what kind of medical aid is being considered and being arranged? Are they on standby, or are they going to be sent to the RV point, or will there be a separate RV point for the medical aid to go to? So based on all of this information, it's like a funnel coming down. It pops out into the ears of the attending officers. And based on that information, they then feed that into their use of the national decision-making model, but also then alongside of it, looking at their officer safety training for practices and principles, in addition then to continuing and refreshing the tactical options and parameters that's there. So that's just a very basic explanation in relation to, from the initial call being received, this funnel and what happens to get the information happening, and coming out of the funnel towards the officers. Then there's all these cogs that should be happening and are gathering information in order to feed and come out to the officers who are responding. Thank you.